You want to talk about it? I'd rather laugh about it. Let's get a little dark about it.
On the Traumedy Show.
Welcome to the Traumedy Show. I'm your co-host, Rachel Wilford.
And I'm your other co-host, Megan Wilford.
And today we are super excited to have Abby Eckel on with us. She is a content creator.
A content creator specifically on the inequities of like household labor, the mental load, a lot about gender issues, feminism, really great things, hot topics right now, like on social media and just our relationships. So I actually saw several of Abby's reels just pop up in my feed on Instagram and was like, oh, I really want to get her on the podcast, which is kind of how the conversation started. So yeah, we reached out to Abby to see if she'd be willing to join. Abby, do you want to give a little more introduction about yourself? Maybe you can like plug your socials, what you do.
Sure. Yeah. So I'm on TikTok and Instagram at Abby Eckel. I'm on Facebook, but somebody's also like ripped off my Facebook and it's a whole, I've had it taken down like 3 times. It doesn't matter. I wouldn't find me there because I don't know if you will find the right place, but TikTok and Instagram is usually where I live and you can find me there. I've been creating content for 6 years in total.
Okay.
I was like in the early stages, your quintessential mommy influencer.
Yeah.
But I just like cringe looking back at it now.
It's okay. We're allowed to evolve.
Yeah.
Thank God we do.
Did you start during like the pandemic time then?
No, I started. So I also work full time in social media, like in
Hell yeah.
content creation, influencer management. And I started in 2018 after my second son was born, because I went through it was like my second kid and I went through so much and I felt like nobody told me anything. Yeah. And I was like, you know what? People need to talk about this. I'm going to talk about it. Mm-hmm. And so I started, but then I was like, this feels uncomfortable for me. I am lying. I don't buy clothes that often. I couldn't take pictures of myself in clothes. I was like, this isn't my vibe.
Yeah.
And during the pandemic in 2020, I got on TikTok. I was like, my boss was like, hey, we need to consider TikTok as a serious platform for our clients. And I was like, this is a young kid's thing. Like a crotchety old lady. Yeah. And then I got on and I was like, okay, I love it here. Yeah. And I tested the waters and I started talking about things. And then my content really evolved. I also came out of motherhood. That was no longer my full identity. As it was when I started my blog. And so it's evolved, thank God. And so, yeah, I've been creating content for a really long time. I'm also a big consumer of content, so.
We are as well.
Yes. The brain rot is real.
Oh, you're telling me.
Well, Rachel and I are also on our content creation journey. Rachel's a full-time social media manager as well.
Nice.
Yeah, and so influencer really marketing too. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's a lot, but then it makes it easy for you personally to jump in because you're like, oh, I now can make this for this exact trend that I just did for work. And so
exactly.
Yeah, TikTok is a little bit our enemy. That's amazing that you have such success on TikTok because we are so much better at Instagram.
Early on, you had to get in early on. I feel like even now I have stalled completely. It feels impossible to grow there. I grew 100,000 in a year on Instagram, and I restarted that. Wow. That was my second Instagram account because my first one got that was a mess. But regardless, yeah. So now I'm just TikTok. I consume content there. I create mostly for Instagram.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's where my community is.
Yeah.
That's true.
We know that you have a story that you might want to share. Typically our guests, it is the Traumedy Show. So often our stories do involve some sort of trauma, typically, or some sort of hardship or something that maybe you've come out of, that you've learned and grown. So we would love to kind of start with that. Rach and I both don't know what you're planning on sharing. So it'll be a surprise for the both of us.
Surprise for everyone.
Yeah. We love it, honestly, because we get to have our full genuine reactions. We literally have no idea what you're going to talk about. So.
I think so. Like for me, the number one thing that like within my content that I've always been asked and I'll continue to get asked is like, how did I find my husband? Like ever, like my husband, this unicorn man.
Mm-hmm.
And
it was one of my questions that I was gonna ask you. So
I went through hell. Let me tell you beforehand. I had been with my ex. Like I was up. Like I always had a boyfriend. Like in high school. Like always had a boyfriend. I don't know. Like maybe when I was like 12, I was single. That was probably like the last time until. I'm not joking. Until I was like 22. And from like the time I was maybe 17 to 22, I was in like a full-time relationship, like a committed relationship with this guy. Like, I still cringe looking back, but like stayed home to like go to the same college as him. Like,
yeah,
you know,
I married mine.
Yeah,
okay.
I tried to marry mine twice,
so we get it.
We relate.
I'm divorced now, by the way.
Yeah, but it got really like it was not a good relationship by the end of it. We were, he drank a lot. He was emotionally abusive, verbally abusive. I was in a really fucking dark place. I was super, super depressed. Got told a lot, like, oh, you'll never find somebody else. Like, you'll never find somebody else. Nobody else is ever going to want you. And he would say this because, like, I'm going to get TMI because in my book there really isn't TMI. I was like 19 and intercourse was incredibly painful. Like, just horrendously painful. I did pelvic floor therapy at the ripe age of like 20, which I didn't even do pelvic floor therapy after I shoved 2 kids out of my vagina.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And
did you have vaginismus? Is that what it's called? No.
Sure. My vagina was depressed. I had vaginismus. I had, all sorts of things. And it was really, that makes it really hard on a relationship.
Yeah.
But it turned into just terrible abuse, basically, because I couldn't. And
that was where the emotional and verbal abuse was like stemming from. It was because you guys weren't having sex. Oh wow.
Yeah, pretty much. But also like he just didn't like, I don't think he actually liked me. After a certain point, it was just comfortability, like, more fear of the unknown of what it would be like to not be together. And so he just, I was begging to be considered. I was begging to, be cared for. Like he would rather spend all of his time with his friends and drinking. And I was like, I had like moved out of my like parents' house, like to live with him. We had dogs together, like, and I just like woke up one day and was like, we were supposed to go, it was spring break. Like we were in college and it was spring break and we were supposed to go to like Manhattan, Kansas. And if you're from Kansas, in Manhattan, Kansas at K-State, they have fake Patty's Day party because everybody's out of school for St. Patrick's Day. So they do like the week before and it's this massive thing. Anyways, we were supposed to go. Yeah. And then he was like, no, I don't want to do that. I'm going to go do something with friends. And I was like, yeah, I'm done. And I just picked up my dogs and like I left and I was like, I went back to my parents' house and I was like, nope, I'll never go back there again. Yeah. That's it for me. And, oddly enough, once I left, sex wasn't painful anymore with anybody. And I learned that like that was literally my body didn't want anything to do with it. And it was trying to tell me for years. And I was like, no, like I feel bad leaving. And my body was like, nah, girl, I don't want any part of this anymore. You got to get out. And so it was a hard breakup. Like we still like lived in the same area. Like I was still really close with his family. That was probably the hardest thing. Yeah. I was so close with his family and his family was like reaching out and, and things like that. And that made it really, really difficult. But it was in that, like, I had like my crazy phase after that. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go crazy because it's been like 10 years since I've been single, and I didn't
You
know what
were
I want.
22 at that time, or
Yeah.
okay.
Mhm. I was like, I'm gonna have fun, and I did, and this is gonna sound like, I know how cheesy it sounds, you guys. I'm aware of how cheesy and cliche it sounds, okay? But literally the day before I met my husband, I was like, you know what? I'm done. Like, I'm done with guys. I just want to have a great time. Like,
Yeah.
I'm tired of change. Because even then, I was still like desperately searching for like validation of like men, because I had heard for so long that like nobody's gonna want me. Nobody's gonna want you, Abby. You'll be lucky to find somebody else. And so I was like desperately
Why?
searching
Where
that
was
out.
that coming from?
Like from my ex, when
Yeah.
when we couldn't be intimate. And I was
I
like,
see.
okay, well, I was like desperately searching that out. And so, but then I was like, enough, Abby, like, live your life. This is stupid. Like, let's finish college. I was a senior in college. Like, let's just get through it. And I went to work. I was a waitress, and like my friends and I were like, oh, let's all go out. And I was like, yeah, great. And oh, this is a story within a story. This is another good one. So the guy I was seeing, we'll say seeing at the time, was one of my ex's really good friends. And we went to our local bar after I got off work, and the guy I was seeing and my ex were there. And it's like a massive community party. There was like a fundraiser for one of the guys, like, that we all went to school with, whatever. And they start like fighting. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, you guys, like, I don't want to be with any of you idiots. Get out. Well, then they had to call in like backup security. And the backup security was my husband. And so I was like drunk with my friends and like annoyed at what had happened. And then my husband's there and he stops me and he's like, hey, you look super familiar. Did you go to this school? And I was like, no. I was like, I'm still in college. I'm getting ready to graduate.
Yeah.
The night.
How old was he?
26.
Okay.
And the night I met him, I told my mom, I was like, I'm gonna marry that man. And my mom was like, slow down. She was like, didn't you just swear off men? And I was like, I know, but listen.
Yeah.
I'm gonna marry this guy. And I did.
How did you know? You just had a feeling?
I don't know. I just had a feeling. And he had the same feeling. And we moved quick, but not like incredibly quick. I mean, we dated and he asked me to marry him after like 8 months, but I was like, yeah, yep, that's it.
What about your husband was so different?
Yeah.
He had his shit together. Like
That's hot.
was like a full ass adult. Like he took care of his shit. He had a grown ass job. He knew what he was doing. He was he was obsessed with me. And like, which is great. Like, I was also obsessed with him. And I know people are gonna be like, how did you know he wasn't love bombing you? And like 14, 15 years ago, I didn't know what the fuck love bombing was. So like he was just a really good guy.
Yeah.
And I think after like, I don't know, maybe 4 days of like us hanging out, was like, I don't want to be with anybody else but you. And I was like, good, I don't want to be with anybody else but you either. And he was like, there wasn't any games. It wasn't like, I mean, the night after I met him, he called me the next day and was like, I want to take you out. And I was like, cool, that's good. And there wasn't any bullshit. It wasn't like, we didn't really fight. Like, when I graduated college a couple months later, he surprised me with a trip to Florida, like had my mom pack my bags, the whole thing. I didn't do anything. And I loved that. I wanted to like be considered. I wanted somebody to want to do those things for me.
Yeah.
You know, it's like from the breakup. And she's like, I want you to want to go to the ballet with me, Gary. Like, that's what it was. Like, I want somebody to want to do things for me because that's what I do for people.
How did you know? I feel like kind of going in a little bit into what your platform is and your content and everything. And like, he is kind of a unicorn, especially when it comes to like childcare and household. Did you guys talk about kids when you were still dating? Like, how did you know that he would end up being still such a great guy, even when it came to like 10, 15 years down the road? Like, did you know?
I didn't know. And that, like, I'm very honest, and like, I don't think there's a secret sauce to ensuring that you marry a man who is going to be an equitable partner with you. I think it's a lot of luck, really. I'll be the first to say it. Like, I looking back, I can see the moments where like we moved in together maybe after like 3 months of dating. And I'm not like, I'm a messy person. I'm not a dirty person. I'm a messy person.
Same.
And my mom would be the first to tell you, like, what were you thinking? Like, to my husband, like, living with me.
Yeah.
But it's not like naturally inclined in me to want to clean, to want to like pick stuff up, to want to do things. So I don't like have that in me to just like do. So when we moved in together, like, if he needed his laundry done, he did his laundry. If he needed, if we needed groceries, he did groceries. He found his own dinners. He packed his own lunches. He cleaned. He like, there was no like begging, like, oh my God, can you please put your dishes away? Can you please do the dishes? Can you please go to the grocery store? Like, why do I feel like I'm the only one taking care of this place? That just wasn't a thing. Like, he just did his shit. Like, he was like, oh, I made a mess in the kitchen. I'm going to clean up after myself. Oh, I need my laundry done. I'm going to do my laundry. Oh, the apartment's disgusting. I'm going to clean it. Like, it was never, in so many relationships, that's unfortunately not how it is. And so, but even after we had our first, there is something that happens. And I know that there's like some scientific like literature on this. I can't remember what it is, but there is something that happens after you have a kid where you wind up taking on fairly traditional gender roles. Regardless of how like much you don't want to. But I was like 26 when I had our son. I was young and I was dumb. First of all, I don't know who let me get married at the ripe age of 24, but don't let people do that again. Like, I don't know what I was thinking. And having a kid that early, well, I don't know what I was thinking either. Because I don't feel like I was ready for that at all.
So young now. Like, I'm 31 now and Rach is 29. And definitely, like, I would have thought I would have been ready to have a kid and I would have figured it out in my mid-20s. But now, being 31, I'm like, that's...
Nope.
Babies having babies.
Babies having babies. Exactly. Yeah. I don't know who let me do that. Or who thought that this was a good idea. And it was hard because at the time my husband worked a midnight shift. And I was doing so much. I was working full time. I was doing bedtime. I was cooking dinner. I was doing bath time. I was getting up in the middle of the night without help. I was doing drop off in the morning, and I was resentful. I was like, you get to get up. You get to sleep uninterrupted. You get to get up. You get to take your time and go to the gym. And then you can go to my mom's and pick the kid up whenever you want. And I was like, I can't do this. And he was like, okay, let's fix it. This isn't fair. Like, we don't want this to happen. And I know that's not like, I know that's not something everybody can do. Like, oh, okay, let's fix this terrible work schedule we're on.
Right.
And it wasn't immediate, but he could eventually get off of that shift. And it's constantly talking, constantly revisiting what we need to be doing to make things more equitable, but also like in the early throes of having a baby for the first time as new parents. I don't know a single couple personally that's like, oh my God, it was the best experience ever. Like, everybody wants to kill each other. Everybody hates each other. And that's unfortunately like a normal thing. Like, you're figuring shit out together in a really trying time. The key is when you have a partner that hears you, that sees your labor, that sees what you're doing as work and wants to participate with you. It's not this, oh, I'm more tired. Oh, I work harder. I make more money. My job is that, I get up more. Like, no, that wasn't That's the key. You have to have somebody from the get-go that recognizes your work, that recognizes what you do, that is willing to work with you, and isn't just like, well, I make more money, or
Yeah.
I work harder hours,
or that's like, that's a woman's job.
that's a woman's job.
Mhm.
That was never, none of that has ever come out of my husband's mouth before. And that is what makes the difference, and I think, in choosing a husband and a potential father of your children. If they can't acknowledge that, if their immediate reaction is to just get defensive of like, well, what about what I do? No. It's just a no.
So this was a big problem in my marriage, and I didn't have kids, but still, I still just managed everything in a way. Like I felt like I was kind of his mom when it came to like making his doctor's appointments, our social life, the household chores. And anytime I tried to, and I was working full time and providing all the money. So I was doing everything. But it was like when I would try to have that conversation, it was so often met with this defensiveness of, innately, I feel like they feel like, oh, she's saying I'm not good enough. And then they shut down. And then ultimately we got divorced. And that I think was the right thing for me to do in the end. But I see this so often when I have other conversations with girlfriends of like, when we feel like we're so burdened and we try to have these conversations, we're just like met with defensiveness.
Yeah. I think men need to be in therapy. And I don't mean that in like I'm trying to like make a dig at men. I truly think they need that, the way that they have been conditioned through the patriarchy to believe that like, that they're like, that all they should do is provide, and provide mean money, nothing else. But their conditioning is much different than the conditioning that women go through. And I think so many men are met or meet women with that type of mindset of like, oh, nothing I do is ever good enough, because they've only been taught that this is all you have to do. All you have to do is get a somewhat decent job, make decent money, and then your wife will do everything else for you. And so when you're like, wait a second, I did those. I'm doing those things. Like, how is this not enough for you? You know? And they don't realize that they've been conditioned that way until they meet a woman that is going to push back on them of like, this sucks, man. This is wildly unfair and not beneficial to me whatsoever. And they're like, well, what else do you want me to do? Like, that is shit you have to unpack.
Yeah.
And they have to do it themselves. Couples and couples therapy trying to work through this, if they are not also like solo in counseling, solo therapy, I don't think it's going to work. I've talked to too many therapists. Women are too far emotionally intelligent ahead of men, that trying to have couples counseling to resolve issues when men have not done any of the work is a waste of time.
Yeah.
They need to play catch up first and unpack why they feel like everything is such a personal attack to them. Women aren't the emotional ones, unfortunately. Men are. Because they are unable to set that emotion of feeling attack aside to actually have real conversations of what their partner, their chosen partner in life, is saying to them without getting immediately defensive.
That's great. And so much of it is probably just from what they learned from their fathers and what we learned from our mothers, and carrying on this burden.
Yeah.
I also wanted to ask, I see a lot of conversation on social media about like feminism being the problem of why we have like gone so far the other way, where it's like, okay, yeah, women's rights, now we're working, but also now we have all of this other labor. And I've seen some of your content on this as well. I'm just curious, like, what is your response to like feminism is what's to blame for women having these 9 to 5 and having all of the domestic labor?
That's not feminism's fault. And I think a lot of women get this, and a lot of people in general get this confused. That's patriarchy. Patriarchy and capitalism. Women need the choices to be able to work. We need intersectional feminism. That is not us going to work and having equal rights and the right to vote and have our own checking accounts and lines of credit did not lead to us needing to both have two jobs and women doing it all.
Mm-hmm.
That's not the patriarchy and capitalism is what's doing that. It should never be that two people are working full-time jobs, cannot make ends meet, and then women are still expected to come home and do the full 5 to 9. That's patriarchy. That's not feminism. That is the conditioned belief of like traditional gender norms of, okay, you wanted to work? Great, go work. Now you also get to do everything else by yourself.
It doesn't work like that.
And that's why I think trad wife content specifically is so incredibly harmful.
Yeah.
And infiltrative.
It gets me so worked up when I see it.
Because it
like feminism doesn't want us to cook. It's like,
oh my God.
That's not what it is.
Like, are you all this fucking stupid? Like, that's not what feminism is. Like, nobody's mad that you want to stay home and raise your kids and make sourdough starters and have chickens in your backyard. That's not it, girl. Like, great. But also, that's incredibly dangerous to be financially reliant on a man. I stand on that. I will die on that hill. I will say it until I'm blue in the face. It is incredibly dangerous to do that. And that's what we just like, great. If you want to do that, girl, get you a post-nup then. Okay?
Yeah.
Get a prenup first or get a post-nup after you decide, hey, I'm going to leave the workforce because this is too much for me. Love it. Great. Do it. Make sure you've got shit set aside just for you to touch and a divorce lawyer or like an attorney's post-nup to take care of yourself. Okay? Because what do you got? Like once those kids are gone and grown and you are out money, and it's not just money, it's not just income, you're out retirement, you're out Social Security, you're out savings, lost wages on promotions. Like it's an incredibly dangerous thing. Yeah. And trad wife lifestyle is just a bold-faced lie.
Like leaving the workforce, I mean, being a stay-at-home mom can be great, especially if you have a partner who really supports you and understands the work that you do. But then like leaving the workforce for that long and then like trying to re-enter, especially after, if God forbid, like your husband leaves you or something, like you are just kind of left.
Yeah. You're left like there's an epidemic of women that are at home with children that are unhappily married and cannot leave. It's not, I'm not being facetious. It is an epidemic. I would say the vast majority of women are unhappily married and they cannot leave their marriages.
For financial
reasons, for safety reasons, for fear of like their kids being away from their kids or their partner caring for their kids for extended periods of time because they're so unreliable and so untrustworthy and they don't participate anyways. So like the thought of having them take over that without them there is not worth it. But a lot of women would leave more if they had money.
The term invisible load, I feel like is definitely like such a loaded term, but I wanted to know like from your perspective, how would you describe it and like what does it mean to you?
Oh, the invisible labor is the heaviest labor. Yeah. It is. I always give the example of like my kids are probably one of the easiest, but also it's like the inventory keeper of like your house. Like it's knowing, okay, we're about out of paper towels. Okay, we need toothpaste. Okay, well, I need to also follow up on that email from the teachers. Oh, have I taken out the next set of medication up to the nurse for my son for his medication? Have I followed up on that doctor's appointment? Oh, I need to make my own doctor's appointment. Like that is
my husband's doctor's appointment.
I need to make my husband's doctor's appointment. I need to make my own doctor's appointment. I need to make everybody's doctor's appointments. Oh, I need to make sure that I've paid my taxes. I've got my property taxes. Have I done that? Have I paid my HOA dues? Like that is the invisible things. It's not, and that's the thing that like I think a lot of men get hung up on is they're like cleaning the house and doing the dishes is so easy. And I'm like, if that's really what you think women are complaining about, you deserve to be left. Like You should not be married. You
Yeah.
should not be partnered with a woman ever, because every woman will tell you that's not it. I can cook and clean, and that's not a problem. I've got a dishwasher. I've got a vacuum. That's not it. It's the weight of like being the emotional regulator of your children and doing the invisible labor of running an entire household for a family that drives women into the ground.
And delegating. Like well, just tell me what to do and I'll do it. And it's like, but that is also work.
Also work. Like, do not understand this. That's also work. And it's a heavy work. And it's not, it would be one thing if it was like a one-time delegation. But it's not. It's a recurring delegation. And then it's a follow-up of like, okay, I actually probably have to end up doing this over again because it was done so poorly the first time. It's not right. You know?
It's so hard not to fall into that. It's like I remember hearing about this for the first time when I was married. I was probably like 24. I got married super young and I was like, holy shit. Like, yeah, that's what my brain does at all times. I didn't even have kids yet, but it's still that just like I have 10 million things in my head of what I need to get done. And I remember talking about it to my then partner and he was like, you're always thinking about that? And I was like, yeah.
You're not?
You're not? And yeah, it's not even really a question. It's just like, it's hard not to fall into that pattern, probably because I saw my mom do that. And like, we're probably conditioned as women to be the carrier of this burden and the like, just tell your partner, your husband what to do. That's why it's so liberating to have a partner who will actually share that invisible burden with you and be thinking of those things as well to take it off of your plate. Like I'm talking as if I've never actually had this. I can imagine what it might be like of having a partner who is like, oh, I made the kids' doctor's appointments. You're like, oh shit, you did? Like I didn't even think of that. Oh my God. Like I can't imagine what it would be like to have someone to take initiative and to think ahead on certain things, to take off that like, that's what I dream of.
Totally.
It's a heavy weight to carry.
Yeah.
It's what probably burns women out more than anything else.
I heard this once. Someone said, oh, what was it? A woman's love language truly is just not having to ask. And it really resonated with me. Like, oh, wow, you did that without me like asking or thinking about it. Yeah, I think it's so true. How would you, like, what advice would you give to somebody, to a woman who is like struggling with the invisible load and wants to broach that conversation with their partner and ask for more help?
This is hard. And I get really, I'm very passionate about this. And one of my closest friends, Paige Connell, or she is a page turner, she talks, I think, probably better about this specific topic than I do, about how to talk to your partner about the mental load and about trying to make it more equitable. I find it really difficult because it's not like women haven't talked about this. It's not like women haven't brought this up to their partners. They've probably tried 85 different ways, and it's not staying. It's not clicking. And I used to be a very big advocate for fair play, the fair play method. Fair Play is a book by Eve Rodsky that I read and used to, I'm even like a certified fair play facilitator, but it's a book. It's a great book. I do think everybody should read the book, but it's also I don't know, it's not a card game, but it's a system that comes with like a deck of cards. It's 100 tasks of like all the things that you would probably need to do as a parent in a home with children. And you basically, like, you're supposed to sit down with your partner and divide up these cards. And it doesn't be like, it's not equal. It's not like you have 50 cards, I have 50 cards. It's like, what is equitable right now? What are we going through in our lives? What cards can I carry? What cards can you carry? But each card has a minimum standard of care to which each task should be completed. So you sit down and you agree upon this, like with your partner, of like, okay, when we say you're in charge of like cleaning the kids' bathrooms, like let's agree on what that looks like. And then there's like the concept, planning, and execution of each one, because we all know the concept is the heaviest part for most tasks. The execution and the planning of it isn't the hard part. It's like thinking through like everything. Like when you think about planning a birthday party, it's not going and doing the party. It's everything else that has to be done beforehand. It is a great method. I think it's a great system. And I think it helps men visually see all of the tasks at hand that their wife is probably already owning. And it's a very good way visually to see like the discrepancies of like how much each person is holding and how heavy that can be. The problem, like I spent years talking about this method. I was a firm believer. I loved it. And then I started realizing that like, and even in like my facilitator training, I was like, but like, why is it still on women to do this? Like implementing the system is a heavy lift. It is a lot to sit down with every single card and talk to your partner about like, okay, let's set the minimum standard of care. Let's talk about what the conception, planning, and execution looks like. Okay, and then revisit it and reshuffle the cards and redivvy them out. Like, why is it always women? One, have to come across this method. Two, buy it, beg their partner to read the book, to be on the same page about implementing it, maintain it, and then revisit it and set up. Likely they will be the ones to set up the redivision of the cards. Like, oh, like we're not
another job.
Another job.
That's another job.
We're not getting to the root issue here of like, because you can do all this and your partner be like, yeah, okay. But if you don't have a partner that doesn't care, that doesn't think that what you do is actually laborious, that doesn't acknowledge the value in what you're doing, you're fucked. Yeah. It's a moot point right there. There's no, you can't even get past that barrier of like implementing the system. So that's where I have a hard time with like, oh, here's an easy answer. Like, just make sure you're talking to your husband after like, he hasn't had a hard day at work. Like, no. Yeah. You can do that. Like, sure, if you're having hard conversations and you want to bring something up, check in with your partner. Like, hey, I really have something important I would like to talk to you about. Like, is today a good day? If it's not, when can we make it happen? Great, you can do that. But if you don't have a partner who gives a shit anyways, who thinks that what you're doing is whining or you're just complaining or it's easy and thinks that their job is harder, like you're stuck. You're done. So I don't think there is a good way to have the conversation about the invisible labor and how to distribute it. But I will say, if you would like to try, I would recommend the book and the cards as at least like a starting point. If you're like at your wit's end, I'm tired of trying to just have the same conversation again. Yeah. Sure. Throw this in and see if this works. Otherwise, I would say tell your husband he needs to go to therapy.
Yeah. Or even like before it gets so exacerbated to where you are at your wit's end, like even like, okay, I'm in this relationship, like even me, for example, like it's a good example. I've been with my partner for 7 months now, and like there is more of an invisible load on me for sure. And we live together. And so I'm even thinking about this, like, oh, this is kind of a good thing for us to probably talk about. And in such a visual way of like, look at all the cards I'm holding versus the cards you're holding. And like, maybe it's not necessarily his fault. This is how he was conditioned, whatever. He's never been taught another way. And unfortunately, like, maybe the burden, unfortunately, could be on me to teach him. But like, okay, doing that before it gets to a point of like, I can't do this anymore and I explode and in a way that isn't productive and doesn't make sense to him or whatever. So it could be a good like foundational thing even for just couples to kind of do or think about or whatever.
Yeah. Definitely. Like having conversations, like, I mean, nobody wants to, have like the conversations of like, so how do you see yourself with kids? Like, you can talk about like, what did it look like in your home with your parents? Who did what? Is that what you want? Is that what you would want as your blueprint of doing things? You know, how do you feel about a prenup? Every single woman should have a prenup. Every single one. Like that is just, it's so basic, and I hate how it's still like taboo of like, you're just planning for divorce.
That's not very romantic.
No, this is a business. Like you're combining like two large sums of like money, of like finances, of debts, and that literally just protects you, so you are not spending your entire life savings paying for lawyers after the fact.
And kicking yourself.
That's what's gonna get you. It's the lawyer fees of like going through everything. Like, set yourself up from the get-go. This is a business, and it's not just that, but like you can have other things in there that are like, oh, hey, you know, we can if we get to this point, like, you know, somebody's throwing out divorce, we have this. Like, this is what our prenup says. We have to do this. Like, we have to go see a couples counselor, or we have to do this. There's Aaron Thomas or Thompson, I forget. He's like the prenup guy on social media. He's fantastic. This is his bread and butter. But it's so insightful, because people just think that like, oh, you know, the state will be my plan. Like, there's this misunderstanding that women get half of everything, and that's not true. There's only like 9 states that are equitable division states where like that's a given. Like, if a judge comes in and they think that, I mean, they can make you do like 70-40 and he's getting more of it, or you're getting 20%. It doesn't matter. You're not guaranteed that. And I think it's a safeguard for women, especially because women are more likely to leave the workforce and raise children if that's, you know, what two people want to do. And I think it would be silly not to. I think it would be a mistake.
I don't really know much about prenups. I did not have one when I got married, and then I had to give 50% of my net worth to my ex-husband. In a prenup, do you know if you can say something of like, if I ever leave the workforce and we get divorced, then XYZ, like a lot of different like kind of set standards of like just safeguards if I leave, and it's not always just like, I don't know. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Absolutely. Oh, for sure. You can, I mean, it's pretty much free, like not free game, but like if that's what you want to say, like, hey, if I choose to leave the workforce for 7 years to like raise our children, during that time, here's what should be happening. You should be setting aside money in a retirement fund or a Roth IRA or whatever it might be that is untouchable by you.
Ooh, yeah.
This is just for me. It's a safeguard for me to do that. And I'm fairly certain you can also do that in a postnup. Postnups are a little bit harder because you're having to still go back and look over like, okay, at what point did you guys come together and who had what amount of money and then what was accumulated after. But yeah, I'm fairly certain you can put those things in place in a prenup.
Didn't even know postnup was a thing until 30 minutes ago. So this is, I know, I'm like, oh, I wish I knew that 5 years ago.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but that's such a good advice though. And that it's not like unromantic to get a prenup. It's just smart. It's wise. Like, things happen and you have to take care of yourself. Yeah, absolutely. I also had one more question about these like messages and things we see in TV, on social, of the disgruntled husband of like, well, once you get married, you're not going to have sex anymore. Like, once you have kids, like, good luck. And marriages that end up like, from the man's perspective of like, yeah, we're really struggling. We just like don't have sex anymore. And like, what is your comment on that? I guess like I've seen some of your content on it and it definitely resonated. So I would love to give you the platform to speak about this particular topic.
Oh God. This one gets me. Yeah. Pisses me off. I think there's a I think men know absolutely nothing about women's bodies and what we go through hormonally, like throughout our ages, like as we get into perimenopause and menopause and how medications affect us, how birth control affects us. And if you are like reliant, if you are upset that your wife, you are not having the frequency of sex with your wife that you would like, that's on you, like to discover and get curious as to why. Because I'm fairly certain if she's not communicating that, it's because you're not a safe space for her to do so. Or she has, and you're not listening because you don't care. Men have like an accountability and a self-reflection problem of like nothing can ever be wrong with them. Ever, ever. It's never their fault. They've never done anything wrong. Like one day she just didn't want to have sex anymore, so we didn't.
She's just not interested in sex anymore.
Like
you need to work on your sexuality. You need to read a book about female pleasure.
Sir, like,
oh God.
Is your wife, are you doing anything at home, like with your family? Or is your wife doing everything? Is she exhausted because she's never getting any time alone to fill up her own cup? Like, are you bad in bed? Like, do you know what the fuck you're doing? Because I would bet most men don't. And most women don't feel safe enough to bring that up to their partners. Like, hey, this actually doesn't turn me on. This isn't a porno. I'm a real person. And this does, but they probably never made their wife feel safe enough to come to them with that information. And if they are under that assumption of like, oh, she never wants to have sex, she's always tired, she's got a headache, like, like I don't think that's it. I actually I know that's not it.
Yeah.
But you have never provided her a safe space, and you've also probably coerced her at times to do things when she didn't want to do them, and you felt that was okay.
It's a guilt thing.
Don't see anything wrong with it. And so now it's just easier to just say no, or she does get coerced and she just does it to shut you up. It's men just don't understand anything about women's bodies. Like I think of like when I saw the memes around like election time and they were like, well, what are the complications her period? She starts a war, and I'm like, she's in menopause, you fucking idiot. Like, are you kidding me? That's not how any of this works.
Wait, that's funny.
Oh my God, that's not how any of this works.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's unfortunately incredibly telling that like it's just, oh, well, you mean she's not into it like the women in the porn that I watch?
Yeah.
Something's wrong with her. And there's never a sense of like, oh, I should be curious about this. Like,
yeah.
Oh, I should wonder, like, is it her birth control? Is it her medications? Is it like literally anything else? Like, that's what women probably say the most of them losing desire to have sex is because it's a chore now. It's another thing to check off of their to-do list. And their husband feels like a child, and nobody wants to have sex with their own kid.
Yeah. The desire is gone.
The desire is gone. Yeah. Or she's going through perimenopause, or like, who knows, you know? Shit changes week to week here. I don't know.
But like how impactful that would be if your partner kind of like took that on a little bit of like, what can I do? Is there more ways I could support my partner? Can I pick the kids up more? Can I do this or that to like give them like that desire back a little bit? Maybe it is an exhaustion thing, maybe the safety thing, but being able to like, I still remember this even being an issue in my marriage. I used to think that I like didn't like sex and that it was like a chore and something that I needed to do at least once a week to keep my ex happy. And now I love it. But then I like look back and it's like, I remember the conversations we would have about like, it was a problem with my sexuality that I needed to like work on my desire or whatever. And now looking back, it's like, there's so many other things I can point to why I had lost a desire in that marriage.
Just have a glass of wine.
Yeah.
What? Wine? No. No,
Yeah,
that's
it's like
not
so often the problems in the bedroom are because of problems outside, and that
Yeah.
like totally affects wanting to or not wanting to or whatever. It's
Yeah.
really interesting. It's like, okay, yeah, we're not having sex. Like maybe it's literally not like a sex problem. It's literally like fucking do something to help me, and then I will like be more in the mood as a result.
It's not always a new vibrator. Like
No.
Yeah, that drives me absolutely insane. Like, and women just get this like rap that like we don't like sex, and like, no, we like good sex.
Yeah.
We like sex with somebody who is safe. We like sex with somebody who sees us as a person, who values us, who respects us, who is a partner to us, who doesn't make me feel like a mother, who wants to learn with me, who is there to figure things out along with me as my life changes, as my needs change. I want somebody who's there to make me feel safe and loved and appreciated. And yeah, it's super, super frustrating.
Values like my pleasure as much as their own.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oof. Such good stuff.
I mean, we've talked about a few of these with your husband in particular, but like for somebody who is kind of deciding like if their partner is marriage material, what would maybe be your top 3 things to look out for as like green flags?
Right now, I would say political alignment. I would say, I think it's allowing yourself the safety and the space and the time to think about if marriage is even something you desire. Is having children something you desire, or was it something you were told to desire? Women settle so quickly because we have this like invisible timeline in our mind that society has always told us, your biological clock, like you're not getting any younger. And we end up settling because we're like deathly afraid that we're going to end up alone, because literally anything is better than being a childless woman in the world, you know, according to society. And we don't ever like give ourselves the space and the time. I would say like reflect on you. Like, what is important to you? Like, do you want to be in a relationship? Do you want to get married? Do you want to have children? Like, what is it? Like, what are your non-negotiables of like, what makes you happy? What makes you fulfilled? What is it that you want to do with your life? What do you want in a partner? Like, partner, what are you not gonna settle for? You know, is it frequent communication? Is it follow through? Is it consistency? Is it, you know, and talking to them about like how they perceive like life as a partner to be. Like, what does it mean to be a good partner to you? And then making sure that you're seeing that in real life. Like, the words are matching the actions. There's follow through. There's consistency. You're not, you know, before you decide like, okay, I think I want to get married to this person, like being honest with yourself of, are they doing the things that they say they're going to do? Or are we having the same recurring conversations of like, I've asked you to do this. We're here back in the same place. We're having the same argument. Like, are you willing to settle on that? Like, are you willing to settle having the same conversation? Because it will not change. Like, set out as you mean to go on. I tell women all the time, do not start picking up after a man. Do not start doing his laundry. Do not start making his life easier just because you get in a relationship with him. Let that man show you what he's capable of, because he'll show you quickly if he is incapable of things. He'll show you quickly if he expects those things from you, because once you set out that way, it will be that way. And it is much harder 5, 7, 10 years down the road to be like, hey, I'm drowning. How did I come to be doing all of this alone? Like just for some reason, like women have this drive to like prove our worth through like services that we provide men, specifically domestic labor. We want to, oh, I'm just going to tidy up his apartment. Oh, I'll just throw in a load of laundry. Oh, I grabbed his mom her favorite, chocolates or flowers for Mother's Day. Oh, I reminded him, hey, call your mom. Start out as you mean to go on, because you will be doing that forever. And it's much harder to undo that than it is to have just started off that way. That was a lot more than like 3, and I don't even know where I ended up.
That was great.
That was great. Yeah.
No, that was perfect. I feel like it's Rach and I are, as we both have like boyfriends now, but have had previous bad relationships, we're just like, this is great.
Totally.
Yeah. Great closeout.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining. This was such a good conversation, and I already know that our listeners probably loved this. And can you remind our listeners again where they can find you on social?
Yeah, you can find me on TikTok and Instagram at Abby Eckel.
Amazing.
Awesome.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right.